Welcome back to my piece, wood turning, for a turning tip. I was in the middle of turning this bowl when the tenon sheared off, and I want to show you how I fixed it. It's a beautiful piece of wood. It's got beautiful grain. It was from a crotch piece. Unfortunately, the bottom of it was punky. I poured a lot of hardener on it. I poured copious amounts of this Minwax wood hardener on there, hoping I could stabilize it enough to have a tenon that would work. Unfortunately, it didn't work, so let me show you how I'm going to fix that. I originally mounted this with a screw chuck in order to make that tenon, so as a result I should be able to just put this right back on there using those same screws. I had a heck of a time getting it off. I had to use a oil filter wrench to get it off, because boy, once you get one of these things on there, and it's on there. Okay, so first thing I've got to do is I've got to flatten this enough, get rid of enough of this damage where I can glue this little disc. I had several of these things handy just for this reason. They've been cut round, almost perfectly round. I probably need to trim it up a little bit more, so more about that in a moment. So I'm going to use a 3/8 inch bowl gouge to kind of flatten that off a little bit. I want to salvage as much as I can, so I'm not going to go all the way down to the bottom. I'll pull that. Now, let's examine that surface, see how flat it is. My 6-inch ruler, and yep, it's a little bit proud on the outside. That's good, and I've gotten rid of some of that damage, not all of it. Got a pretty rough surface. Alright, so I've got this hole on there. It makes it a whole lot easier to glue this up. So let's go ahead and add a little carpenter's glue and bring that tailstock up. You can probably use any kind of PVA type of carpenter's glue. I happen to use Tight Bond 2. So it's getting a little old, but I'm going to give it a try anyway. It's already anyway. Put lots of it on. Put it on both sides liberally. And after this, I should probably throw that tube away. I'm just going to get it in there in that damaged area. Okay, now I bring up tailstock, live center, 60-degree cone, and I'll bring up a little bit of pressure, not so much that, I get good glue out, but not so much that I'm going to have a problem with the glue out. Rub a little bit in there. And we'll let that set up. So I'll let it dry overnight, so now I'm going to turn this as a parallel tenon for my standard record power jaws using a detail tool. I want to get just a little bit of shoulder on here, which I failed to do, so let's back up and do just a little bit more. And stuff right there. Get the shoulder. Not as strong a shoulder as I'd like, but now we're going to use the standard jaws. That'll hold the tenon very secure. It's just a question of how well that glue joint works. So I'm going to use a 3/8 inch bowl gouge. Maybe I switch to a 1/2 inch. I'll just take that sharp edge off first. It will cut you. Very cautious. Conservative, very little pressure. Let the tool do the work.
true. Nope. Got some tear out here. Funky grain. Tear out here. That's soft. I got a feeling I'm going to have a very difficult time. Even though the grain is spectacular. I think I'm going to try a little wood hardener on those soft spots on the side and come back to it. Okay, I've got it sanded. In order to remove this, I've got to completely cut it away. I find these cold jaws the best way for this. This has got voids in it, so I couldn't use my vacuum chuck the way I normally do it. I don't really like cold jaws, but there's some projects that they work for, and this is one of them. So I'm going to bring this up, and okay, I'm going to use a 3/8 inch bowl gouge to remove this. Slowly get the speed up. Max speed on this large set of jaws is only 600, so I'm going to keep that in mind and take light cuts. Okay, got most of it done. I got rid of most of the glue. Just got this one little nib in the middle. And then I've got to try to concave this in a little bit so it'll sit flat on the table. Switching to a 3/8 inch detail spindle gouge. Before I completely remove that nub, I'm going to see if I can't do some pull cuts and get most of the way done here, so I'll have some support. What I want to do with this one little rim area here. I think I'm going to take this all the way down. I've got to here. So I'm going to pick up the cut and go push cut. Surface speed down here is very, very slow as it gets smaller, so I've got to really take my time with the feed rate. That is how fast I push this tool. Okay, that's looking pretty good. It's get a little tear out. This is kind of soft. It didn't get any of that min wax hardener, but I can sand it out. So now it's time to remove that little nubbin. Looks like it snapped off due to because that hole in the middle didn't have any glue on it. And I'm going to come in straight in. I'm wondering if this is strong enough to take a couple of V-grooves. I hate to kind of leave it plain. So let's use a point tool, see if we can add just a couple of V-grooves there. you always got to check the bottom with a ruler, make sure there's no gap, and it's a nice concave, so it'll hold fine. Well, this little bowl turned out pretty well, and I'm glad I had this little block saved for just such a thing. I would say if you think you're going to ever use this, go ahead and make some of these appropriate for your chuck tenons. So you'll have them handy when you need them, and not have to stop what you're doing and restart. Your comments and questions are important to me. Please leave them in the comments section below. And if you're not a member, please subscribe. And remember, y'all stay safe. Come on out. Come on back. You hear?